In the Championship, we have some of the best home fan bases in the entire country, but we also have some of the worst. So in this video, we are going to be ranking from worst to best the fan bases in the Championship. We've got all the Championship teams, as you can see, lined up right here. And we've also got the teams that are relegated from the Premier League, and as well as that, we've got some of the already confirmed promoted teams from League One. Of course, we still have the League One playoffs to decide who's actually going to get promoted, but we've got all the Championship teams right now, and then them teams as well. So if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you're a Championship fan, hit subscribe on this channel. This is the place to be for Championship content, so hit subscribe. There'll be daily videos on this page talking about all your individual teams as well. So if you're a fan of the Championship, this is the place to be. Hit subscribe on the channel. So we'll go in random order, but we'll start off at the first one there. We've got Blackburn Rovers. I'm going to have to put them in absolute library. I mean, their stadium is generally half full, which, I mean, obviously Blackburn have problems with their ownership. They've had problems for years with the Venkies, so that's definitely a reason for why this is in this kind of tier. And obviously, this is off experience that I've been to Ewood Park myself. It always is a library, and to be honest, Blackburn home fans are some of the worst in the entire division. You look at the stadium being half empty, as I say, not to their fault, not to a fault of their own, but then you look at that as well, and the atmosphere as well, it's normally it's a pretty bad atmosphere at Blackburn, one of the worst ones in the Championship. I'm going to put them in the library tier. Next up, where shall we go? We'll go to Plymouth. Now, I could put these in the best fans, or I could put them in the good fans. I'm going to go for the good fans. They could be very close to the best fans in the whole of the Championship. They've been absolutely excellent, their home support this season. It really has been a fortress down there at Plymouth, and Millwall has managed to take advantage of that amazing fan base that Plymouth have got. Unfortunately, of course, they haven't managed to be successful in their push for survival. Millwall has done a great job in the second half of the season, really good form from Plymouth, and as I say, especially at home, and the atmosphere, you saw it in that game against Sheffield United, it was absolutely electric, and there's so many games that Plymouth have really, they've really made that home support count in their matches, hence why they've got a much better home record in the Championship. And of course, it's their away record that's let them down. That's the reason why they have gone ahead and got relegated. We'll go Bristol City next. And to be honest, I've been to Ashton Gate a few times. I mean, the Ashton Gate support's been absolutely outstanding this season. But when I've been in previously, when they've been mid-table, has been pretty poor. So we're gonna go good fans, to be fair. Based off this season, of course, we're going to have to base it off this season. Bristol City support has been very decent, especially towards the back end of the season. They've been filling out the ground, they've been making a lot of noise. But in my experience in previous seasons of Bristol City, I'd probably put them in the bad fan section. But as I say, this season, the atmosphere's been electric. Of course, it's always it depends on how the team's performing. If the team's performing better, generally speaking, of course, the atmosphere will be better. So Bristol City, good fans this season, I'd say that is absolutely fair. Now, Cardiff City, I mean, this is another team I've just got to go as an absolute library. The atmosphere at Cardiff is pretty dull, to be honest. Another team that doesn't really fill out many seats at their stadium, not a massive amount, so there's always empty seats at Cardiff whenever I've seen. And again, the fans, they've been pretty average. And again, it's another one where they've obviously got relegated. The ownership, as well as that, is also, with Vincent Tan, they don't really want Vincent Tan in as well. So the atmosphere isn't going to be bouncing at Cardiff. So based off this season, it has been a bit of a library. I think that's fair to say. Next up, we'll go for Norwich, and I put Norwich in average. I mean, they've not really had a lot to shout about this season. Their home support has been very good in previous years, but I'd say average for Norwich this season. They've had a very average season, so as I say, the fans haven't got a massive amount to be jumping up and down about, so I'm going to put Norwich into average tier. Now, we'll go to one of the Sheffield clubs. We'll go Sheffield Wednesday, and again, it's another club. There's a lot of clubs in the Championship, of course, have got issues with their ownership and just issues with atmosphere due to the fact that the ownership is where it is at the moment. That's where Sheffield Wednesday are at. Their fans at home haven't been great over the course of the season. Their home form as well, to be fair, has been absolutely appalling for how well Sheffield Wednesday have done away from home. Their home form is one of the worst in the whole of the Championship, and for me, I'd have to put them in the bad fans section. Now, as I say, they're not bad fans in general. Like you look at Sheffield Wednesday as a away support, which we'll definitely do another video on that, so subscribe for that. But their away support is obviously class, but at home, it doesn't really make a lot of noise. I mean, last season I was there with QPR. They made a lot of noise in that game, to be fair, but then even last season at QPR, they weren't great at all. So for me, Sheffield Wednesday this season, based off this season, is going to have to go in bad fans. Where shall we go next? We're going to go someone that we're going to put in the best tier. We're going to go Portsmouth. Obviously newly promoted. Fratton Park has been an absolute fortress for Portsmouth, and their home support is absolutely outstanding. It's something that we've missed in the Championship, a team like Portsmouth. Obviously not being there for quite a few years now, and it's great to have them back in the Championship. Great to see them survive from relegation. And as I say, their fans have been absolutely outstanding this season. You look at certain games, I remember watching that game against Leeds on TV. the atmosphere was absolutely outstanding. And just generally speaking, in Portsmouth's atmosphere, it's one of the best in the Championship. Crazy fans and really good support from Portsmouth over the course of this season. Next up, we'll go for another team in average. I'm going to go for Millwall. They've had a very good season, could potentially push for players. I think their fans are pretty average. You can put average to bad fans, but I think average this season for Millwall is about fair enough. I think they've got decent enough support, but as I say, nothing outstanding. The average is probably fair enough for Millwall. We'll go for Stoke City. I'm not going to go live. I'm going to go bad fans. I could even put them in live, but it's another team that's, what have they got to shout about? Realistically, what have Stoke got to shout about? Their season's been absolutely terrible. They're still not confirmed safe at the time of recording this video yet. Obviously, one game to go. Still not out of the relegation battle yet. So we're going to go bad fans for Stoke. And it's another team again. Like, it's just tough with the ownership and the performances. It's very hard to create a really good atmosphere when your team just isn't that great, realistically. We'll go to Sheffield United next. I'd say Sheffield United, I'd put them in good fans. I think their fan base is very decent. They've had games, against Leeds where they really built up an atmosphere. I know they didn't get the result in the game at the end, but they've had games where they've had a really good atmosphere. Of course, they've been very good over the course of the season. Of course, obviously falling off towards the end of the season in terms of their automatic promotion race. But I'd say Sheffield United have got very good fans, and when I went to Sheffield United, it was decent for about the first 10 minutes. I mean, in the second half, when they played QPR, they were absolutely terrible, and we were actually decent. We managed to pull it back to 2-2. But Sheffield United, generally watching and generally speaking, they are very, very good fans. We'll go for Coventry next. And you know what? I'm actually going to put Coventry in the best fans. As far as away games that I've been to with QPR this season, I'd say Coventry is right up there with another team we'll discuss later in the video. Coventry support has been absolutely outstanding, especially since Frank Lampard's taken over. They're selling out the ground, they're making a lot of noise, and they've got some last-minute goals that, of course, create absolute scenes in some matches over the course of the season. So Coventry, for me, are right up there with the best fans in the Championship. Maybe not, I wouldn't put them ahead of Portsmouth, based on what I've seen, but I'd say Coventry fans have been absolutely outstanding over the course of this season. We'll go Burnley next. I'd say Burnley, it's a difficult one. I mean, they obviously had a great atmosphere in the game recently against Sheffield United, but I'm going to go over the course of the season, average fans. I mean, it's another team that, even though they're as outstanding as Burnley have been, especially in the first half of the season, though, a lot of 0-0 draws, and a lot of people complained about Scott Parker's football and being boring. So for Burnley, I'm going to go in average fans for them. And as I say, in the second half of the season, they actually have managed to put the ball in the back of the net quite a lot more. And they've been a lot more entertaining to watch the second half of the season since Marcus Edwards has signed. They've kind of let the shackles off a little bit, and they have been definitely more entertaining to watch in the second half of the season while keeping that defence so solid. We'll go to West Brom next. Another team that, I think, to be fair, against QPR, they had a decent enough support, but I put them overall in average fans. It's another team that, they're a bit frustrating to watch, West Brom. They haven't scored a huge amount of goals over the course of the season, and they haven't had a massive amount to shout about, especially at the back end of the season. They've really dropped off in terms of their playoff push. Good fans on their day, but over the course of the season, just based on the season, how the fans have been, I would say average fans. Now, we'll go Middlesbrough next, and again, it's another one that, on their day, have absolutely outstanding support. So we're going to go average as well for Middlesbrough. Again, they've been very frustrating to watch over the last few weeks and over the last few months under Michael Carrick, really, since the turn of the year. It's been very frustrating. But I'm going to go average fans for Middlesbrough. As I say, on their day, they are one of the most well-supported teams in the Championship, and they would be up there in the good section if they probably performed better over the course of the season. Now, we'll go to a team that has performed very well over the course of the season, but as far as an atmosphere at home in most of the games that I've seen on TV and just generally with Sunderland, it's got to be bad fans in terms of how you got to take into perspective as well how well Sunderland have done over the course of this season. It's another team I just haven't heard much. I remember when we went to QPR, I didn't go Sunderland. Sunderland away actually this weekend for QPR, but I went Sunderland away the last season, and the atmosphere there was pretty poor, to be honest. So I'm going to go Sunderland in bad fans over the course of the season, just in perspective to how well they've done this season. Now we'll go Derby County. Now, when I went to QPR, this is another team that this season up there with Coventry have had outstanding support. When I was there at the start of the season, it was under Paul Warne. They beat us 2-0. The Derby support was absolutely unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Like, in previous seasons, Derby's atmosphere for me has always been pretty average when I've been there personally as a QPR fan. But this season, they were absolutely outstanding. One of the best grounds in terms of supports that I've been to over the course of this season. Now, we'll go Hull City next. I've got to go library for Hull City. I apologise. If you're on my TikTok, Hull City fans aren't exactly the biggest fans of me, but I went Hull away this year. It was an absolute library, and it is a library most times that I go there. So for me, Hull City, I'm just going to have to put in that library category. I mean, right now we've got Blackburn, Cardiff and Hull in there. We'll go Leeds United next, and for me this is going right in at number 1 in terms of the fans. Leeds United have had ridiculous support for years now. I've been to QPR Leeds when Leeds were sat in mid-table, when they were terrible, when nothing was going for them, and they still had excellent support. They'd still be there every single week. They'd still be chanting every single week. That section next to the away, I think it's a south stand, absolutely unbelievable support every single time I've been there. And yet again, of course, there's no difference in the last time that I went to Leeds this season. So Leeds, to me, absolute best fans in the division, with it in the Championship without question. Of course, they're going on to the Premier League, and I wish them all the best in the Premier League, and I hope it goes well for them and they can manage to survive the relegation and try and bridge that gap between the Championship and the Premier League. We'll go Luton next, and I'd say Luton for me are bad fans. So yeah, I think they've had not again, but the atmosphere's actually been really good towards the back end of the season. Of course, they're in a survival, but you know what? Actually, I'll put them up to average fans, because for the majority of the season under Rob Edwards, it's been pretty poor. But over the last few weeks, I saw the atmosphere obviously in the last match where they won 1-0 against Coventry at the end of the match. That was an unbelievable atmosphere. Of course, it's got to be, because it's so much was riding on that game for Luton. So for me, I'm going to have to put Luton up to average. I would have had them in bad fans for most of the season, but I have seen their support over the last few weeks, and it is definitely making a difference to the players down on the pitch. We'll go for Oxford United next. I'll go bad fans. I think they've had some games where they haven't been a complete library. I'd say they're better. I'd say they've got a bit more of an atmosphere than these three clubs again, but they're kind of borderline for library and bad fans. But we'll go Oxford United in bad fans. Of course, they got promoted as well. You've got to take that into consideration. It's a big season for them being in the Championship. And the fan base hasn't been the best, in my opinion, over the course of the season. Preston next, library. I don't even care. Preston just have to be a library. There's never been a time where I've gone to Preston and I don't even think I've heard them chant. I literally don't even think I've heard them chant. We played them the other week. I went to QPR Preston away. We ended up winning it in the last minute, which was absolutely unbelievable. Preston fans, I literally heard them about once when they scored, and that was about it, to be honest. So Preston's going in library. Next up, we got my team QPR. I'm not going to get too carried away. I mean, some people might even argue bad fans, but I think the atmosphere at Loftus Road is very special. It probably hasn't been as special in recent years, but we've had games even last season where the atmosphere was absolutely unbelievable. But for me, average fans for QPR, I think is probably fair enough. I mean, people who don't like QPR might want to put us in bad fans, but for me, I'd say we've got average fans at Loftus Road. And in some games, the atmosphere can be absolutely unbelievable in certain matches, but we've not really had that this season. But again, it's no team that's not really had a massive amount to shout about. Right, so Swansea City, I got average support as well. I think there's obviously a lot of average fans in the Championship. Swansea were decent when I went to them. I thought they were just all right, nothing wrong with them, nothing to shout about. So for me, Swansea can go in average. Watford, I'm going to put in average as well. I actually think Watford support is all right, to be fair, at times. I mean, I haven't been this season personally, but I've seen some games on TV. The Watford fans are they're all right. They're not too bad at all. And when I went to QPR, they were decent fans, of course. I mean, we're not really a rivalry, but there's always something in the game between QPR and Watford, a little bit more than just the average Championship fixture. So I think Watford is average. Right, so now we'll go to Ipswich. Of course, they've been in the Premier League this season, but for me, they're still very good fans. You look at the season when they were in the Championship, great support in my opinion. So Ipswich for me, I'm going to put in good fans. Leicester is very difficult because obviously Leicester, I actually went to Leicester away, to be fair, this season actually in the FA Cup. We got absolutely smashed by them. But Leicester, based off this season, it's so difficult when they haven't had anything to shout about. It's been so bad. I'm going to have to put them in bad fans just for this season. Southampton, genuinely, I'm not going to say best fans, but I'm going to put them in good fans. I mean, you look at their support for how bad they've been. I actually think the Southampton support has been unbelievable. They've really stuck by the team for how bad they've been. Like, by the way, they are literally level on points with Derby in terms of breaking a record for lowest points in the Premier League season. Now, I don't think their fans have been that bad. And when you take that into consideration, for me, I actually think Southampton have got very good fans. So I'm going to put them in the good section. Now, Birmingham. I mean, the atmosphere's been good this season. Of course, they've been in League One. It's been an absolute breeze for them. It's been, they're going to break the points record. It's going to happen. And fair play. So Birmingham, I'm gonna go good fans. I think Birmingham actually do have very good support. I mean, in previous seasons, like it's obviously been a lot better this season. They've actually been getting wins, which in previous seasons Birmingham have always been a lower mid-table club / relegation club pretty much in terms of how they've performed in the Championship. And the atmosphere when I've been personally, of course with QPR, has been very average, to be honest. I mean, it's been as I say, there's no other word to describe it as average, but with the Championship, with League One, they've done very well, and of course their support has been excellent in terms of their home support. Now, Wrexham, I mean, the atmosphere, I mean, as much as, if you watch my TikTok, I didn't mean to do that, if you watch my TikTok, then you know all about what I think about Wrexham and the stuff that I've said. I actually don't think their fans are that bad, to be honest. I want to put them in average fans. In terms of the season, I don't think they've been bad at all. Of course, we'll see how they get on in the Championship, and it'll be very interesting to see what kind of signings they make and how they get on. So that's the tier list there. We've got Leeds in the best fans with Portsmouth, Coventry and Derby. Good fans, we've got them section there, which I think is valid. Obviously, we're going to have the most teams in the average section because there's a lot of average fan base, in my opinion, in the Championship. Then we've got bad fans with them, which, as I say, with these bad fans, a lot of it, you look at, there's kind of a clear correlation in terms of a lot of these teams have got, like, you know, they've got issues with the ownership, they've got off-the-field issues, and of course it's going to translate onto the fan bases. So it's not a full reflection in terms of how bad actually the fans are of the club. It's very much perspective with how poor some of the clubs are running these bottom tiers. Not all of them, of course. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below. If you watched this point, you may as well hit subscribe. If you like Championship content, hit subscribe on the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.